I'm Booyo, and I hit Eternity this season with a 64% win rate on Venom with about 130 matches played. Follow this guide and I guarantee you will be able to rank up and have a beautiful match history like this. Alright, so for your settings, the first thing you want to make sure is that you have easy swing off. It's just going to be really good for rollouts, and you can use it. It's not going to make you unable to play Venom, but I just recommend having it off. It allows you to have more agency over your character. And then another very important thing, I think, is having a ping button. When you don't have a ping button, you have to, sometimes you'll be moving and this menu will come up. That's not what you want. You want to be able to ping who you're on, so your teammates can focus them. I also have need healing ping in case I'm just swinging around crazy. My team can see me, I can just spam it, and my peers will be able to see me. Alright, the first tip I want to give you, you may have heard this one before, but it's the main thing that I see low elo Venoms doing every single time. It hurts to see, they always use their swing to engage. So when you use your swing to engage like this, and then you slam, and the team's all focusing you, if they burn you fast enough, and even if you pop your shields, you will still die. You won't have a way to escape. So the number one thing you can do is to always run up a wall and then slam it. Now there is some nuance to this. I say that it's very strong to swing in when you have a pick or two, and you know that they don't have the damage to kill you in time before your next swing comes up. So lots of time you might get a pick on a DPS, or maybe 2 picks on a tank or something, and they just will not have the damage to burn you before your next swing comes up, so you can swing in aggressive. Alright, tip number 2. Tip number 2 is something I don't see talked about a lot, but it's usable on practically every map that I can think of. And it's a good way to keep your damage uptime, and that's a ledge slamming. So as you saw right there, I didn't need to swing to get my slam off. If you jump off a ledge like this, you're able to get a slam. It's very strong for when you don't have a swing up, or there's not a good wall. Like sometimes there won't be something like this to run up, and instead of walking all the way over to the closest wall and going up for a slam, it's much faster to just go like this and then slam for some damage. The next tip that I can give, that I don't see a lot of people talking about, is you do not always need to use your E when you engage. So lots of times people will just fully commit to a dive no matter what, just brainlessly thinking, go in, do their combo, whatever, you know, fully commit. There's lots of times when there are cooldowns up that will prevent you from being able to fully commit to a dive. The main ones are Adam Warlock's Soul Bond and Loki Lamps. If you know that they have those characters on their team, you should dive in, try to bait them out, and then just swing out. Don't use your shield. The reason for this is your shield is on a pretty long cooldown, and if you save it, your slam comes in on a faster cooldown. So you save it, and then you have your slam up quicker, and then you're able to dive them right away before, instead of, you know, having to wait for your shield to come back up. Alright, the next tip is to abuse the Venom fast combo. I talk about this all the time. I have a YouTube short on it, and I also have a TikTok on it. Basically, it's just the quickest burst of damage possible with Venom's ult. So the way that it works is when you right click, you always want your right click to pop after your ult, and to get the timing of that down without just feeling it out, you're able to fit in 2 left clicks before your right click pops. And then just a little bit, so you'll see. So if I right click, I have time to fit in 2 left clicks, and if I instant pop ult, then that's what it's going to look like. And you'll be able to do damage quick enough in a burst that they won't be able to heal it. So this combo is able to kill 250 HP characters, and if you have a Luna damage boost or a Rocket damage boost, you can even one-shot through support ults. So if I have a Rocket on my team or a Luna on my team, and let's say they're Luna counter ults, you want to make sure that you burn through the Luna shields, and then I'll tell my Luna, okay, damage boost when I call it, and then I tell her the damage boost right as I'm about to go under. Alright, next up is B-hopping. You see this all the time on Spider-Man, Venom can do it too. It's very important that you learn how to do this. I highly recommend binding jump to scroll wheel down just to get it consistently. But you want to use Venom's momentum and jump like this right as you hit the ground in order to B-hop. It's very helpful to get to where you want to get to quick. It's not that hard to get used to. The hard part is actually getting the momentum of the swing down. But once you get it down, you'll be able to get some insane rollouts and get to point very fast. Alright, next tip I want to give is just a tip on how to dive with others. As Venom, your character is not the most mechanically difficult, so you want to maximize your output as Venom by being the one to communicate your dive. So if you have another dive character on your team, you want to have them get set up, just like into the line of sight of their enemies, and you're going to count down your dive, and then that's when they'll dive in. So if I want to dive on these bots, I'd say 3, 2, 1, dive, and then, you know, maybe my magic will come in and start beating up this bot with me. It's very important that you communicate your dives, and sometimes the teammate won't listen and they'll just go in. When that happens, you just kind of have to play off their flow. But the higher you get, the better they'll be at listening and following your dives, and a perfectly coordinated dive is what makes Venom so strong, because if you dive perfectly with your teammate, they will blow up before they have any time to react to it. Alright, the final tip I can give is less related to Venom and more just diving in general, and that's to always be communicating. When you're playing Venom, there's no reason you shouldn't always be saying something. Basically, if I'm getting set up, I'll let my team know I'm getting set up for a dive. If I'm about to dive, I'll let them know that I'm diving. If I have to disengage from a dive, I'll let my team know that I'm disengaging. I'll be calming every single ability that's being used by the enemy. And that's just basically how you want to play Venom. You want your team to basically know what you're doing at all times, and just keeping that constant flow of communications and team chat is really important. Even if you think nobody can follow up with your dives, it's still important to calm, because there might be that one DPS who's looking at your dives and is able to follow up. Sure, you relay the cooldowns to the enemy team, so if they're, you know, if they use a support ult, let them know. Or if they use like Loki lamps or Soul Bond, you just want to let your team know, because they'll be able to follow up off that. Some tips for ranks, specific ranks. I'm just going to group up bronze to diamond in like one general clump, because I think the same things will apply to throughout all those ranks. You just want to take your time to learn Venom and learn his interaction with the characters. What characters are strong with Venom? What comps is he good into? I would say that he works into like 90% of comps. Sometimes they will run a full anti-Venom comp, and that's when I'll swap to mag. But in most games, and especially in Diamond and Blow, you will probably never have to swap off of Venom. Even if they have a full anti-Venom comp, you should be able to play well enough to beat them. Another thing is, just focus on your mechanics. Venom isn't necessarily too hard, but just focus on your tracking. I'd say aim for about 30% accuracy. That's usually around what I have. 30% is good. And just learn to communicate with your team, even if that's at a basic level. Just tell your team, you know, when you're on their backline, and calm all your dives. Alright, for GM+, this is kind of where you have to start to perfect your dive timings. You want to learn to calm basically every cooldown that you see the enemy use. Even if you think it's like something not important, but like Luna Snow just use her freeze. That's an important calm. That's really good for your team to know. Also, you want to be tracking enemy ults. This is super important. Just letting your team know how to play around them. Letting your team try to coordinate what ult your support should be using for their ult. Just get a better understanding of the game. That's one of the most important things you can do. And then also, like I was saying earlier, don't use your E if you're going to bait out cooldowns. You know, that's one of the most important things for me that helped me rank up, was stop using my abilities and really just be focused on the uptime of my presence on the map. The more uptime you have on the map as Venom, the better. The last thing I want to say about Venom is he is a 1-star hero, because his gameplay loop is consistent and very easy to learn. But he has an extremely high skill ceiling, and if you master him, I promise it will be worth it, and you will rank up. So just put in the time, even when things are seeming hard. I promise this is a character that you will be able to climb with. I love Venom, and honestly, I think he is one of the most fun characters I've ever played in a video game. And there's just nothing more rewarding than having an enemy talk about how annoying your dives are and like how much you are harassing their backline. It's a very rewarding character. I just want to say thank you for watching this guide, and if you want to see more, subscribe and follow me on Twitch and TikTok, as I'll be streaming more soon. Enjoy the ELO.